Did colorism exist in pre-colonial Africa? Today, we'll look at this fascinating question and explore what really happened before colonialism changed everything. You might think colorism is something that started recently, but did it exist in Africa before colonialism? Let's find out. Colorism, bias or discrimination based on skin tone, is a big issue today. But what about in the past? Pre-colonial Africa was made up of hundreds of different cultures, each with its own views on beauty, identity, and social values. In this video, we'll explore how different African societies viewed skin color and what that says about their culture. In many African societies, skin color wasn't the main way to define beauty. Instead, beauty was often about other things like your features, how you dressed, or the traditions in your community. For example, the Maasai people from East Africa valued long, stretched earlobes and beautiful beaded necklaces as part of their beauty standards. In West Africa, groups like the Yoruba used things like scarification, cutting designs into the skin, as a sign of beauty and identity. So, where does skin color come into all of this? In some African societies, there were certain ideas linked to darker or lighter skin, but it didn't mean that one was better than the other. In some cultures, darker skin was associated with working outside in the sun, while lighter skin was often seen in people who worked inside or had less exposure to the sun. But this wasn't a judgment of good or bad. It was more about practical life and environment. Here's something to think about. Could colonialism have changed how people thought about skin color in Africa? What happened when European powers arrived and introduced their ideas of race and beauty? Colonialism brought huge changes to Africa, and it also introduced European ideas about race. Europeans often thought that lighter skin was better, linked to beauty, power, and social status. This wasn't something African societies had thought about in the same way before. In fact, African societies didn't have the same strict ideas about race that Europeans did. Skin color might have had cultural or symbolic meanings, but it wasn't tied to feelings of superiority or inferiority. When Europeans colonized Africa, they brought their own racial hierarchies with them. Lighter skin became a symbol of privilege, and darker skin became linked with the idea of being inferior. This idea was spread through education, the media, and even religion, and it had a long-lasting effect on African societies. Before colonialism, Africans saw beauty in a much broader way. There were even communities where darker skin was highly prized, especially in areas where sunlight was strong. So, the idea of light skin being superior was really a colonial invention, introduced to control and divide people. Before colonialism, African cultures were diverse, and each had its own view on beauty and identity. While skin color sometimes had meaning, it wasn't tied to judgment or value like we see today. Colonialism changed these views, but understanding Africa's true history helps us challenge these ideas today. So, what do you think? Do you believe colonialism played a big role in shaping how we view skin color today? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to learn more, click the video on the left to watch another fascinating story about African history. And don't forget to subscribe to African History Made Easy for more videos that make learning history fun and easy.